Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today. It's April 2nd, Friday, 2021. I'm the man they call Meathead, and let's talk about our sponsors right before we bring in Matthew Thomas. First off, our friends over at manscaped.com, 20% off with PWR. Don't 20% your man bush, your pubic region, your nethers, if you will. Shave that stuff down. Make yourself silky smooth like our friend Dave the Zoan Hero. Somebody may need a Merc in the future. Get on over to manscaped.com and clean up your pubes. And then our friends over at collarandelbowbrand.com. I'm wearing my Irish Whip today because it's very soft, very comfortable from collarandelbowbrand.com. I used PWR 360. I saved 10%. Uncle Al took care of us. There's a lot more great gear. We're going to talk to Matthew in just a second, find out what he ordered from collarandelbowbrand.com. Matthew Thomas, good morning. Come on in.
Good morning. And I want to say something. I think, I know it's been talked about and whatnot, but I'm not so sure that the material the Collar and Elbow brand is made of is of human origin. I've never felt anything on this planet that's actually felt that good, as far as a shirt goes. And I'm not so sure that stuff, is not like leftover from the Roswell crash or something. It feels that damn good.
Wow. I mean, that's a ringing endorsement from Matthew Thomas, the man they call Matthew.
Absolutely. I mean, it feels like it might have potentially come from outer space. I kid you not. The best feeling T-shirt I've ever worn in my life, and that's not an exaggeration.
What'd you get?
I've got a package that came with 3 the other day. I've got my Chad Gaspard shirt. I've got Thank You for Wrestling With Us, which you can get at a great deal on the clearance price. And then I also got the Collar and Elbow in like the traditional kind of shopping bag font. I'm a big fan of shopping bag
shopping bag fonts, or are you talking about the mirror, what they call the mirror?
I call it shopping bag font. That's what I call it.
Okay. All right. Well, you used PWR 360. You save yourself 10%. Uncle Al sent you the shirts, and they were sent on their way. So thank you for helping clear out.
Let me give you a little testimonial about the shipping. So I placed the order at about between 10 and 11 p.m. Mountain Time on Sunday. It was nestled safely in my mailbox by Wednesday, like early afternoon. The turnaround time on that stuff was extremely quick. And I mean, I don't know who the Postmaster General currently is, or necessarily if that's
Newman.
I think it's appointed. I don't think, it's Newman. Okay. Yeah. But, when Newman resigns, I think Uncle Al is, he's got to be in the running, man, with how quick, that stuff got to me.
There you go. All right. Hey, let's talk a little wrestling news. One big piece of information we want to talk about, and it's related to tonight, but it's actually not about tonight. It's about next week, Friday. A special WrestleMania edition of Smackdown to air April 9th on Fox. Matthew Thomas, they have promoted next week's show before tonight's show, meaning that doesn't it make SmackDown for night pretty much a lame duck?
I don't like for them to do that. Yeah, it does. It makes it a lame duck show, and I don't see the point in that.
The same could be said about AEW doing that, right? Because AEW will have these little special one-off nights that happen every 4 to 5 weeks. Hey, Don't forget about Fyter Fest. Don't forget about the little man in the boats coming up 2 weeks on AEW Dynamite. And here's a match that's going to come up in 2 weeks. But it just feels different when WWE does it. I feel dirty when they do that.
Yeah, because it's completely out of the ordinary. I mean,
right.
How many weeks do we have a Raw or SmackDown where there's one match announced and maybe they're turning over a new leaf and maybe it's going to be a good thing, but it just feels so out of the ordinary.
Well, finding the little man in the boat is always a good thing.
I'm not a huge fan of the little man in the boat. I was a big fan of the little man that carried the Whitman sampler box. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I mean, We're on completely different paths here, sir.
Yeah, if you ever get a box of Whitman sampler candy, the best piece, 100% milk chocolate right there, smack dab in the middle, is a little miniature man toting a Whitman's sampler box. Best tasting piece of candy in the Whitman's box, bar none.
Okay, all right. I was talking about finding the little man in a boat, but
it's consistency because because the other stuff in the Whitman's box, you don't know if you're getting something chewy. You don't know if you're getting something that has nuts in it. You don't know if you're getting something that has that has coconuts in it. I'm not a huge fan of coconut candy. And a lot of that stuff can be very deceptive, but through generations upon generations, the man in the middle carrying the Whitman sampler box is always going to be 100% milk chocolate. He's not going to have random stuff hiding inside of him, and then you bite down and it's like all this stuff that you don't like in the Whitman's man. No, Whitman's man, that's consistency right there.
Okay, all right. Well, here's what's been announced for next week, Friday's go home to WrestleMania, because remember, WrestleMania is on Saturday the 10th and Sunday the 11th. First off, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal will be happening on SmackDown. Here's the competitors already announced for it. Akira Tozawa, Angel Garza, Cedric Alexander, Drew Gulak, Elias, Eric from the Viking Raiders is back. Grand Metalik, Humberto Carrillo, Jason Riker, Jey Uso, big match, Jey Uso, Kalisto, King Corbin, Lince Dorado, Mace, Murphy, Mustafa Ali, Ricochet, Shelton Benjamin, Shinsuke Nakamura, Slapjack, T-Bar, and look who else has showed up. Tucker. Tucker is in the house. After Tucky turned on Otis and became a heel for 1 week and then disappeared. Now his boy Otis is a heel. Does Tucker show up and go help out the Alpha Academy? Because that same night, there is a fatal four-way tag team championship match. The champions Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode defend against the Street Profits, Rey and Dominic Mysterio, and Otis and Chad Gable. And then they are advertising Reigns, Bryan, and Edge to address the WWE Universe. Matthew, let's talk about, because, again, apparently they don't care about SmackDown tonight. Yeah. Let's talk about SmackDown for next week.
Yeah, I would certainly think that somebody's walking out of that you don't expect. I mean, Nakamura at this point, I don't think him winning that is necessarily that big of a notch in his belt. Jey Uso is the person who's gotten the most attention out of that lineup, but I don't necessarily I don't feel that's right in this spot. I expect it to be somebody unexpected, but I just don't know quite who that is right now.
I'm kind of a little pissed off for the PWR fantasy drafts, because the reason I grabbed the Street Profits thinking that they were going to get a chance at a tag team title match on the pay-per-view, and they're wrestling for the damn belt on SmackDown. Hell, just put it on the pre-show, maybe.
Yeah, nope. But you know who is on that pay-per-view is Bad Bunny.
And he's on the poster.
Yeah, he is.
The wrestlers are on Fox. But then again, we're talking about how the wrestlers are on Fox and Bad Bunny's on the pay-per-view. They do have Fox to work towards. They have advertising. They have money. They need big name stars. And so, I mean, this isn't a demotion. I mean, that's how we're talking it up at first. This isn't a demotion. They're being put on SmackDown on the big go-home show. So they're there. They're working, and they're put on there for a reason. Bad Bunny match against Miz is it's not selling the pay-per-view, but it's there to appease, say, Bad Bunny, get that crossover advertising. But no, Ziggler, Roode, the Mysterios, the Profits, Otis and Gable are on the SmackDown go-home show on Fox.
And to their credit, how many times do the go-home shows feel uneventful, seem just kind of like a holding pattern? And they're trying to make this as eventful, I think, as a go-home show can. So, maybe it's a kind of a new thing they're trying out. And
yes, it is.
And maybe it'll work out.
And again, we have Raw talent in that Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So maybe all of the Raw talent will be there as well.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe Shaq enters as a surprise.
Because remember, they have to get out of where they're at. And to be completely honest, I think they're lame ducking tonight because they need to pack up the Thunderdome and go down to the Yuling Center.
Yeah. And that's, do we know, is SmackDown going to be live next week?
I don't think it will.
It in the can? Yeah.
I don't think it will. I think they're going to put the little man in the boat in the can.
Yep. That would make a bunch of sense. But, how cool is it going to be after that show? Cool is it going to be seeing WWE in front of people again?
I'm ready. Just like watching yesterday's opening day win by the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, what Linda and I did throughout the year. We said, let's talk about our Packers. They're undefeated. They've won this, won that. I'm not doing that for 162 games of the Brewers, obviously, but being down 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th and coming back and scoring 3 to win, 2 in the 9th, 1 in the 10th, in front of, I think they said they had 15,000. They're at
good.
I almost said Miller Park, and that's not right. And I wanted to say County Stadium, but that's 20 years old. It is American Family Stadium and Fam Park. Yep.
There it is. No, you cover the Brewers on your other podcast, Brewer Banter.
Brewer Banter, right? Exactly. Yeah. That's an offshoot of Buckle Banter.
Yeah. No, it's Buckle Banter's sister podcast. Yep.
Yes, exactly. It's from the Banter family of podcasts.
It's some good broadcast journalism.
We plan on doing an NPR show down the road one day, so I don't know. We'll see.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about Sami Zayn real quick here. Sami Zayn was interviewed by Renee, who went by Renee Young, now Renee Paquette. Her show where she does podcasts. She talked to Sami Zayn, and really the conversation came up about Sami and creative. Now, John Moxley, Dean Ambrose in the WWE, had mentioned that he really had issues with creative, and being a creative guy that he is, he really butted heads with the creative at WWE because, there was one time they wanted John Moxley / Dean Ambrose to mock Roman Reigns for cancer.
Yeah.
Gross. Barf.
Oh my goodness. And let's not forget the weeks that we saw Dean Ambrose in a gas mask.
Right. Because he's crazy.
Yeah, that's what crazy guys do. They wear gas masks.
Yeah. So Sami Zayn addresses also that there's talk out there that he can be quote unquote difficult.
Yeah,
I understand that. Sami Zayn is a very, very creative person, and you know what? If they come at him and dictate to him something that he thinks is amazing, he's probably not difficult at all. And if they dictate something to him that's just hot garbage juice, he's probably going to push back, as he should.
No, and I will say, the storyline that he's been given, this conspiracy thing's been going on for several months now. And
matter of fact, he's got a Hollywood premiere tonight. That's one of the things
he does. Yes, he does. This feels like the most, substantial storyline he's had in a long time, and he's done a really good job with making it work. And, a Sami Zayn segment is becoming one of those segments that if my time is pinched, I'm making sure that I'm, stopping and seeing what Sami's doing, because he's really done a great job with this.
He's got a premiere tonight, and he's got for some reason I have lost track of Logan Paul. That's it. Logan Paul's got a big fight next week, I think. After WrestleMania weekend, he's got a MMA match that's coming up, or a boxing match. I'm not quite sure. But Logan Paul will be his guest at his red carpet premiere tonight for his documentary. So his documentary is over. We'll have to see how it goes. What do you expect to see out of the documentary from Sami Zayn?
We've got him and Kevin Owens announced for Mania, so we're going to have Owens interference, I would imagine, and probably, kind of think of it as a wrestling wedding. This is a wrestling movie premiere. Imagine a bunch of stuff getting busted up. I think that's probably what we got in store.
Yeah. I've seen a quote that I'm not quite sure what I understand or why I see this or how to understand this, but why is there a quote that Ethan Page is out there saying, every time I see Ray Phoenix wrestle, I want to burn my wrestling boots and retire? That just makes no sense to me. Do you understand it?
Is he basically saying that, Ray Phoenix is that big of a talent that he's setting the bar so high nobody else currently can top it?
I set it up. I was being funny. Every time I see Ray Phoenix wrestle, I want to burn my wrestling boots and retire. He is so good. I would love to test myself against him. Anyone on the roster would love to wrestle Ray Phoenix. I set it up. I was trying to. It was a bait and switch there. I trolled for a little bit.
Baiting.
Well, I am the master at it. So nothing.
No. I was trying to. Man, okay, that's where my head went to. I thought it was I was going to make a David Arquette reference, but it was not David Arquette. It was who was the dude in Idiocracy?
Who? Owen Wilson?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
Luke Wilson?
For whatever reason, my head superimposed David Arquette with the Wilson dude, and I was trying to
So
I was
David
trying to
Arquette on
wrap
top
it
of Luke
all
Wilson's
in into
body.
a David Arquette reference, and none of it worked. So,
Well, hey, I mean, it is what it is. But I feel like that, those jokes will land some days, and some days they won't, I guess. I don't know.
well, you know what? I think it's because I haven't had enough electrolytes today.
So you're not as amped up.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. That's what it is. They were putting the electrolytes on the plants and whatnot. Yeah. All right, I salvaged it.
Salvaged, kind of like a buccaneer going to a wrestling match. See what I did there?
Oh yeah. Buccaneer going to a wrestling match. Not to be confused with Macho Man Randy Savage, the guy that ran the junkyard with Lamont, right?
Yeah, that was it. I was going to segue here anyway, but thank you. Have you been watching Young Rock?
I've fallen behind. I need to catch up on Young Rock. My goodness, man, it's been so long since I've watched it. He's probably like in his teenage years now.
No, they bounce back and forth. You know that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But the Macho Man does show up, brother. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. He didn't snap into any Slim Jims though.
Oh yeah, just wait for it.
We've spent so much energy this week and been so amped up and so excited that I apologize to our listeners here this Friday morning on April 2nd that that's all we've got. I mean, literally, we're in a holding pattern at PWR today, waiting for next week, the go-home week, the final Raw, the final NXT, which NXT will be a 2-night event, Takeover, Stand and Deliver, Wednesday on the USA Network, Thursday on the Peacock, Friday, SmackDown, big SmackDown, Saturday, WrestleMania, Sunday, WrestleMania, and then the Raw after WrestleMania. Don't forget the Raw after WrestleMania. They're going to tell you 17 times, this is the Raw after WrestleMania. Anything could happen with nobody in the audience.
Yeah, you know what? I wonder if they're going to have the heels getting cheered and the faces getting booed just for old time's sake.
How corny would that be?
That'd be really cool. I don't know what's going on here. The Thunderdome's in Bizarro Land.
Right. But we know that you control it. Again, it's just when we know that they're piping in, for example, Daniel Bryan's yes chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to turn heel and attack Edge and beat down Edge and go after Michael Cole and, beat up Corey Graves, and then we start getting no chance. We know that's their production team doing that. We know this. We can't suspend disbelief on that. So again, if they treat us to the Raw after WrestleMania with, different, it makes no sense. Just like the "you suck" chants at Roman Reigns.
What's going to be so interesting though is, we've gone over a year without any temperature checks with a live audience. Right. And I mean, basically anybody's opinion of professional wrestling now is what's been going on podcasts or on forums or whatnot. We really don't know. We have an idea who we think is over, but we have absolutely no idea how that live crowd at WrestleMania is going to react to anybody.
Right. And here's the thing. The company only knows who might be over and not over by merchandise.
Yes.
Because they're not basing it on, house gates. They're not basing it on, cheering and booing and, who's getting the most. It's merchandise. Who's selling the most merchandise right now? That's all they have to base it on. Because, pay-per-views, I don't know if you knew this, Matthew, and you listeners, I don't know if you guys knew this. The reason cities get pay-per-views is local TV ratings. That is how you get shows.
Interesting.
The reason that certain cities seem to get certain pay-per-views or certain, extra TV shows, they get live Raws and SmackDown versus house shows, is because they have the most people that watch the product. Yeah. That's very basic. And, AEW blew up in Milwaukee instantly, and they knew, oh, man, wrestling, it's not Chicago. It's not LA, New York, right? But Milwaukee is a wrestling hotbed.
Yeah, absolutely.
All your stars from the 80s, all your favorite wrestling superstars from the 80s went through the AWA pretty much. I mean, and World Class Championship Wrestling and the NWA down in the South. But that AWA had three major cities: Chicago, Minneapolis, Milwaukee. And again, your Mean Gene Okerlunds, your Bobby Heenans, your Hulk Hogan's, your Ric Flairs, they all came from the AWA. So when you see, for example, Milwaukee getting a elimination chamber, I've been to elimination chamber, I've been to Fastlane. We haven't gotten any of the big four, but we did have King of the Ring 96, where a young man by the name of Steve said, Austin 316 says, I just whipped your ass. That's because
you did.
People watch the show here. So.
Yep. It's, in just kind of going back to the WrestleMania reaction to something that I think is going to be a borderline crime, and I'm being optimistic that it's not done and that we will see some variation of them at WrestleMania. How awful would it be if who I think it might very well be the most overstable in that company now, the Hurt Business, doesn't get a live crowd reaction?
Yeah, Hurt Business is done. They're absolutely done.
So we think WWE's had a way of tricking us before.
No,
not making any predictions just yet, but they've fooled us a couple times.
Well, the Who said, I won't be fooled again. Speaking of fooling again, it's time to move on again. It is Friday morning. We are wrapping it up. That's a crisp, clean 20 minutes with a little bit of extra on there. A little au jus, as I've said a few times. Folks, this is the week that you look forward to every year. We are building towards WrestleMania 37 in Tampa Bay. Fans are coming back. If you're one of the fans that are getting the tickets, I know Linda, Dave, we cannot confirm nor deny that the creator of the Pro Wrestling Report may be in town as well. I can't say his name. Hashtag, I won't say his name, but he may be there as well. There's no shenanigans this year. There's WrestleMania is a different show, but WrestleMania 37, Tampa Bay, it's happening this coming week. So for Matthew Thomas, I'm the man they call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you next week for WrestleMania coverage. So long, everyone.